Hi everybody and welcome back. For those of you just tuning in, this is Tattoo Collectables and I'm your host Eric. Today on Tattoo Collectables, we've got some mail to open and there's some really cool stuff in there this week. And then we have another Women in Tattooing that we're going to do this week. We liked that segment from last week. A bunch of people commented on it and said they liked it as well. And so we're going to bring that back. And then we've got some news this week that we found out that we didn't know. We had to search some stuff out this week. You got to chase down the history, and that's what we did. So stick around and check this out. First up, you know what it is.
What's in the mail?
Okay, so what's in the mail this week? Okay, so the first thing in the mail this week, when this showed up, I was waiting on several things this week to include a phone case that didn't quite work out for me. But I went ahead and opened this package up because I didn't know what it was. And what it was from Alice Bowie. Alice Bowie 79 on Instagram. I will put that up down below so you can check out some of the cool stuff they have. They're a vintage clothing store. I'm not sure where they're from, but I'll definitely have that info for you. But you know, with the World Wide Webs, you don't need to. It doesn't matter where they're from. You can get stuff from anybody these days. But this is from Alice Bowie 79 on Instagram. We got this awesome, and this is a modern. This is the same shirt that if you went to San Francisco, this is the shirt that Tuttle sells in the shop, or did sell in the shop. I'm pretty sure they still have them available. You'd have to check online. I know the Lyle Tuttle collection's got a bunch of stuff for sale. I don't know that these shirts are one of them. You might have to go to the shop to get one. But when I saw it online, it was $10, and I thought, you know, that's a great addition to the shirts that I've already got. I've got several Tuttle shirts hanging around here, but I didn't have one of these. So, you know me, if I didn't have it, I definitely need to have it. So, second thing we got in the mail this week. This came from eBay as well. I get a lot of stuff off eBay, and I just really enjoy the hunt for the stuff. You know, like the hunting it down and the hunting down the history for me is the most fun. So this one came from Temecula, California. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've never been to Temecula, so let's see. Oh yeah, I remember this. This is another really well packed. And thank you for that out there in eBay land. Pack this stuff up really good. That's what I say. So last week I got the Elizabeth Weinzierl party room pictures, which eventually they became Coble pictures. This one, however, still taped up. This one is not. Although it looks the same. From the same era, Jiminy Christmas. Although it looks like it's from the same era, which is from the 60s. I'm gonna pop this open too, because you know me, I want to do the smell test. It definitely appears to be a 1960s photo. And here's a good photo of it while I'm struggling to get it out of the package. So yeah, that's definitely an older one. I would say this is probably from between 65 and 70. Let's see if we can see there if there's any kind of dates on the back. There is not. This paper manufactured by Kodak is all it says. So that's definitely and it's been pinned up. It's got tiny little pinholes in the corners, which lead me to believe, and they're so small. I'll get you some detailed pictures of those. They are so small, I do believe this was hung using tattoo needles. But it's a great photo of a butterfly on a leg. You see these all the time now. Like people are going through their photos and they're like, oh, that was Grandpa's. He had that done on his leg back in '74 or whatever. And now people are digging them out of the old photograph albums and like, oh, this has got a tattoo on it. I wonder if this is worth anything. They absolutely are. This one I paid $35 for. I don't know who tattooed this. I'm not sure whose leg it is. Somebody out there might know. I'm gonna put it up on my normal channels to see if anybody out there has any guesses as to who this is or if they know who this is. But for now, it's a beautiful example of Americana from the mid to late 60s. And I just love these. I'm gonna put this up. It looks like Tuttle's work, but I'm not gonna say it's a Tuttle picture because I couldn't tell. The background, there's nothing really in the background to let you know that this is or isn't. So I hate to speculate, but it does look like his work. Little butterflies were some of his deal. He liked doing those really well. But getting this picture, I love it. I think it's an awesome thing, and I'm gonna keep it with my collection. Next, okay. So anybody that has tuned into this show before, usually when I say this one came from London, England. Actually, this one came from River Cottage, Hope Valley, Derbyshire. So usually when you know what's coming out of this. I get a bunch of these. I get them mainly from overseas because here people collect the poo out of them, and you just don't see them available in the States as much as you do overseas. Now this is a 1938 Churchman George Burchette card. I love getting these. I am, and I know you're wondering, is he trying to corner the market on these? I just love them. I think they're cool. They're almost 100 years old, and they still have, some of them still have sharp edges on the edges of them. Somebody collected this set back in 1938 and saved it all these years. Now, chances are this is from somebody's estate. Somebody's grandpa or grandma are no longer with us, and they had this set of cards. Now, this is all 50 again. And again, I don't collect any of them but the one of George Burchette. So there's a bunch of really cool cards in this set too that just don't have anything to do with what I collect. So, but that one, that number 7 right there, that's the one you want, from the 1938 Churchman cigarette card collection, and it's called the In Town Tonight. So if you're looking for them online and you can't find a George Burchette card, type in Town Tonight. That was the show that they were doing. That's why they made the cards. So on this radio show, people would show up, and their tagline was, who's in London tonight. So George Burchette was a big tattooist in London. He'd been tattooing there forever. He tattooed in World War I, tattooed in World War II, and so that was some low-hanging fruit, for one of their shows. Who can we get tonight? Is George around? We'll get George Burchette over here. George loved publicity. He loved doing stuff like that. He did some stuff for the BBC. Here's the weird part. In the early 1940s, when TV was it was barely invented yet. They hadn't come up with the commercial yet. That's how early it was. The BBC came to George and was like, hey, we'd like to put you on television showing your skills. He was the first televised tattoo artist, which makes it historic right there. First one ever on television. And this was back in like 1940, 1941, something like that. You can still get the footage on, although it is owned by someone, or I'd be showing you a little bit of the footage here. You can still get the footage on YouTube. Just type in Painting the Lily, and you can see old George at work there. Now, that being said, when you go and watch this video, you'll notice that some of it's just, it's not actually tattooing. It looks like they're drawing stuff on with a pen. So, those cards are, they range from like, I think I got this set for $13-14 plus shipping. The shipping is always expensive to get it here because it is coming from overseas. So when you get them, you know that expect to pay $15, $16, $17 just to get them here. So factor that in when you do find them online to purchase. So because I don't want to say, hey, when you see these, grab the set, and then you grab the set for $1.20 and you find out shipping is like $27. So definitely, as with anything on eBay or online at all, check the postage, because you'll find some people are trying to make their money on the postage and handling rather than the items. I've seen that a time or two. So now that's all that we had for what's in the mail today. I'm pretty excited with what we've got. The pictures, I love the pictures. I see a bunch of them out when I go to the Historic Society meetings, and when you see guys out doing the history stuff, you see a bunch of photos. Photos is the new hot collectible as far as the tattoo world goes, because they are one of a kind. You know, like we know they're not mass produced. Now some of the Cobles are mass produced. Most of the Cobles actually are mass produced. They made as many of them as they could sell. But I mean, they're still cool to have, and now they're getting harder and harder to find because people paid a dime for them, and they weren't in the industry or whatever. So over the years, they get destroyed or what have you. But they're worth having because of the rarity of them. So, but I digress. But that's all that we had in the mail today. So now we're gonna do another segment of our Women in Tattooing. This one is on one of my favorite ladies. She's a tattooed lady, and I'll just roll it so you can find out for yourself. Check this out. Jean Fernella Carroll, born in 1910 in Schenectady, New York. In 1920, at the age of 10, joined the Haydenbach Wallace Circus because of her silky beard. As she got older, her beard grew, and so did her popularity in the sideshows. As a young lady, Jean met Ohio man John Carson while he was working as a sideshow barker, and quickly fell in love. He had felt the same about her, but focused on friendship because of her beard. 15 years go by, and with them seeing each other daily. She saw how he loved her as well, but couldn't give up her livelihood and home in the sideshow. Until one night, sword swallower Alec Linton told her she should shave her beard and get tattooed for the sideshow. Soon the beard was gone, and 700 images were placed on her by Charlie Wagner. Jean and John were married almost immediately after the close shave. They remained inseparable and working in the circus together, him as a barker, drawing in the crowds to see the sights, and her as a tattooed lady and burlesque dancer, until his death in 1951. She went to work for Coney Island until August 1968, where she fell ill and died in 1969. Okay, so I had no clue. When I started researching this story, like I had a picture of her, which is one of the reasons. Like I like doing stories about people that I already have collectibles about. And Jean Carroll, I got one of her cards, like she used to give out at the circus. I'd love to have. She gave out a booklet called. What I'd really like to have is there was a book that she used to sell called "How I Became the Queen of Tattoo." I haven't seen one. Those are probably pretty rare. If anybody out there's got one, I'd love to see one. Send me some video of it, and we'll put it in the show next week. Last week I bought some Flash, and it was on eBay. I already opened this. I already went through it because it came in such a large box that I was like, "What is that?" And everybody's like, "It's got your name on it. Who knows what it is?" And I was like, "It's Christmas. Who knows?" when stuff like that comes in, I like to go ahead and open it in case it's something that's inappropriate for the show or has nothing to do with the show, and just kind of waste time up here while we're trying to film. But what these were, and the reason the box was so big, like they packed these, and they're in glassed frames, and the frames are the older, like, they're not pop frames from today, but this is what was the pop frame in the 80s. It was a $4 frame or whatever that you got from wherever you got it from, probably Walgreens or the dollar store or what have you. Now inside of these is a piece of flash from J.D. Crowe, and I got 2 of them. And when I saw them online, I was like, wow, those are some just badass flash, as most of his are. And but they've always got, to me, they've always got something funny on them, or they've always got something that you're like, I have to tattoo that on somebody. And for me, it was this was the standout right here, was the angry unicorn. You don't see many unicorns just mad at something, but this one definitely is. It really cracked me up when I saw it. And then this one has the what I like to call the Monty Hall parrot, the brand new car parrot, which I thought this was awesome. I love all these birds, and I wish people would get more parrots on them like they used to, because parrots are super fun to tattoo. So when I got this, the problem that I had with it is that in 1987, J.D. Crowe started official tattoo brand Flash, and we have quite a bit of it here. JD has been into the shop. He does a tour where he stops at all the tattoo shops that he can find. If he hasn't been in your shop, either he can't find it, you're brand new, or whatever. I'm not sure why he hasn't been to your shop yet. He's been to ours. If you go to his Instagram page, he's been to a ton. He does a tour now. And he always has these really great flash books for sale. When he stops in, buy what he's got, buy anything he's got, and have him sign it. And he will. He'll be happy to sign it. Now, the one thing that is constant with this flash is the official tattoo brand logo. Every time I see that, I know immediately that's J.D. Crowe Flash. I'm not always immediately sure who distributed it. It's a fun word. But when you see that logo, you know that that's his flash. You know that that's J.D. Crowe Flash. And when I saw this, it had his signature on it, and a date with a circle. The copyright circle. And I was like, I have never seen this. This doesn't. I don't know if this really jives. You know. I did the smell test on it. It's definitely old. I did the paper test on it. It's definitely that same kind of paper that they used back in the 80s for this kind of flash, because it was always honestly kind of flimsy. It was on real thin paper normally, and that's why guys put them into these frames, so they wouldn't have to pinhole them to the wall and destroy them right away. But when I saw that signed name, I thought, that just doesn't seem right to me. So I contacted J.D. Crowe. J.D. Crowe let me in on the fact that this stuff is super early in the company's career. They had just opened the year before, and he had just signed a deal with Huck Spalding and Spalding Enterprises to Spalding and Rogers to distribute his flash for him. And they sell a ton of flash. They still do today. So Huck Spalding came to J.D. Crowe and was like, man, I love your flash. It looks great. Nobody's going to hang flash with your name on it in their shop. And that was indicative of the late 80s, early 90s. We didn't get along back then. That's why a lot of you newer people in the industry, you're wondering, why are these old guys so pissed off all the time? Here's why. It's because they were in the business at a totally different time than today. Back when we got in the business, people were very secretive. They didn't share anything with anybody. And if you weren't in their shop, if you weren't a member of their group, they didn't want to know you. They didn't want you to know them. And they damn sure didn't want to hang Flash with your name on it in their shop, because people would ask, who's J.D. Crowe? Oh, he's a tattoo artist from Virginia. Well, why don't I go see him if he does, it was that kind of era. So Huck came to him and he was like, look, man, nobody's gonna hang this shit with your name on it. So he said, make a logo, put it on there, and be done with it. So that's what he did. He made the official tattoo brand logo, which is this. And it's been on ever since. Now these are super early pieces. These are from a year after he opened. I'm gonna put an estimated value on these at about $80 a sheet right now, and they're going nowhere but up. If you can get these old J.D. Crowe sheets with JD's name on them instead of the official tattoo brand, man, you got something. Go ahead and buy them. I got these for $4 a sheet. Now, that is extremely cheap, and I got them from somebody who had bought a storage locker that had a bunch of tattoo stuff in it. So somebody, unfortunately, had lost this, and the person who'd got it wasn't aware enough of our business to know that it was worth a lot more than they were selling it for. So, seller beware out there as well. If you go to sell something, make sure you know what it is, make sure you know what it's worth before you put it up. Otherwise, you're gonna see a show like this and you're gonna think, and we don't want to upset nobody out there. So, but the moral of this story is, if you see it online and it's that cheap, go ahead and get it. Find out the history once you get it in your hand, like we did. This Flash, I had no clue that J.D. Crowe was signing it at first, but I do now, and I think that's awesome. Hopefully, you all enjoyed that bit of information as well. So, hopefully, you enjoyed the show today. And if I'm not doing segments that you liked us doing in the past, drop me a comment down below. Put a comment in there and be like, hey, what happened to this segment or that segment? And we'll revisit it for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the notifications bell. Now, for all you old timers out there, and I know there's a few of you watching, there is a button on the bottom that says subscribe. Just right now, just go on down. Go ahead and hit that. And then there's a little bell button. When you hit that, your phone will actually get notifications. Every time we do a new video, you'll be the first one to know about it. And later on this summer, we will be doing our first public showing of the collection here at Tattoo Collectables. Now, I haven't worked out the details with the promoter yet, so I'm not gonna tell you what place we're going to yet, but that should be coming in the near future. So be sure and stay tuned for that. I'm gonna be at that convention. I'm gonna be giving away a bunch of Procreate brushes for tattoo artists and a bunch of stickers and other kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that. And as always, this is what I want you to do this week. I want everybody to stay safe, and I want everybody to keep on collecting. Hey everybody, thanks for watching, and please hit the subscribe button down below and check out these videos. We've worked real hard on these too, and I think if you enjoyed this one, you'll enjoy those too.